How
that
was it
shit.
that tight?
Mm-mm.
Hey, at that point, just come
Captain
naked.
Tazaryach.
What's up to Chakalak? Oh shit, Hey yo, hey, ping the cavalry. Everybody, ping the fuck
Wait,
up.
I'm sorry.
Captain to Chakalaki. Captain to Chakalak.
What's
Captain
up?
Cadillac.
Sir, no. Who the fuck were you extrapolating semen
From the
from?
anus?
Yeah, get that nigga Bang in here.
From the
Oh,
anus? What is happening?
That was
What
not
part of the
me.
Bible is in there?
That was not me.
The
Slow
fuck
it
you
down,
mean it
sister.
wasn't
Let me
you?
go get my fucking
Slow it.
word.
Go get the link. That was
Lavish, you
not
here?
me.
That was
Yeah.
your
Get the
voice. That
Martin
wasn't no
Luther
AI.
Lavish.
it was
We
it was
need
my
you.
voice.
oh,
It was my voice.
That's
I'm in the video talking. But that is
You in the
yeah,
not
video
Lavish
me.
talking.
X.
You
yeah.
said you was
Explain
You
it
the one
because
who said you was
I'm gonna put the
extrapolating.
clip back
Play
up
the
and we're
shit,
gonna
man.
play
Play
it.
the shit, man.
Damn, that's crazy.
Extrapolating,
How?
Hey, no
bobulating,
more. Hold
Play
on.
the
percolating,
shit, man.
percolating.
Play
No
it.
more bombs over
Play.
lavish. It's Martin Luther Lavish right now.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
go.
actually, we might need
Play
him to
it.
turn up. So not Luther,
Luther.
Lavish X. We need you to go ahead and let it rip.
Yeah, play that shit, man. Play it. I know y'all ain't paying me for this shit right
Yes,
here.
the
This
fuck
is
we
fire.
did. They
Oh
did.
yeah, Wack already. He was confused as well.
Dang. Can
Yeah,
can we
play
can
it.
we reenact his confusion tank?
He was like,
I'm trying to get you everything you need to answer, Cap. I'm trying to get you everything you need.
Man, get the shit, man. Play it.
"That's
Well,
what
that's
he
what you were saying
said."
in the clip. You were saying get the shit.
Let me see if I can play it. Hold up. Let me see it.
Because of his testicles. Horus transported semen into Seth's anus. Seth transported his semen into Horus'
Nigga,
anus.
that's you.
That's what we do inside. That's
That's
spell
you.
recitation
Listen,
396
that
on
is
the
You
me.
pyramid
said
Answer
it
it.
wasn't
walls
you.
of Kemet.
Listen, why y'all won't let the content? No, no,
We
no,
heard
no, no.
enough.
I ain't. No, no. Play this shit. Play this shit again, man.
Yo, Cap, we said we heard you saying something about
So
Hey,
extrapolating
yo,
semen.
son.
fast because of his
Oh shit,
testicles.
y'all.
Horus transported semen into Seth's anus. Seth
Mm.
transported his semen into Horus' anus. That's what we do inside. That spell recitation 396 on the pyramid walls of Pepi. Who gave you this stuff? Was it
Nah, Cap, you was
Hey,
supposed to have
yo, I'm
somebody.
on Tim's beat.
Nah,
Who was you
no,
talking
hold
about,
on,
son?
Cap, you was supposed to
How
have
do
somebody
y'all
else read
read the
that.
way?
Wait, Cap, you was supposed to have somebody else read that, bro. Like that was
Wait.
not supposed
But
to be
how?
read by you.
But how do y'all listen to that and think I'm supporting that?
I just heard your
And let me
We
hear
just
voice.
that.
hear that.
Wait.
We don't hear
I don't know
nothing
who's
So y'all
else.
recording. I
not
just hear
listen.
you reading that.
It's your content, sir.
It is definitely.
BJ.
So when you actually watch the video, I'm battling a nigga that believes in that. So the guy on the screen is it's a guy named Shaka, and Sarnetta is the moderator. So I'm reading that to Shaka. So when I say to
Okay.
Sarnetta, that what we doing now, because I'm clowning the
Wait,
guy
when did
Shaka.
Sarnetta get
And
cool?
I got that context, but that's why I said the reason I got the context was the reason for this statement. You should have had somebody else read that.
No, okay. So I'm in the
And
battle
you
though. I
was
can't
real
have nobody
passionate
else.
talking about, and he
You
erected.
was.
If you read it,
He
it says
erected the sperm
because I'm making fun of
from the
him.
I
anus.
know, Cap, but it's still funny, Cap.
Like, damn, okay, we got
What
it.
the
Damn.
That's why you hear Sarnetta say, "Hey, where you get that from?"
I'm
Because
a
they didn't
visual
want me to
learner. I
say the
don't like
shit.
that.
that was my issue, Cap. I'm a visual learner as well. So when y'all talk,
So
I
I
y'all
see
see
visually
things.
things.
watched it and you
I
found it.
see
I see
shit.
dead people.
So while you're talking, Cap, imagine me. I
I
was
was
like,
like,
oh my
oh.
God. So now y'all know why I gotta leave sometimes because I'm a visual
And
learner.
then
Like I
I
really
didn't
see
know
what
who Seth was, so he just popped up in my like
I thought
imagery
Seth
like
was
to
out the Bible,
be.
bro. So I'm thinking of
He was just a
Dreadhead.
lot character for
Nah,
me.
Seth is not. Yeah,
Yeah.
Seth is not in the Bible. Seth is in. So in ancient Kemet, they had these gods. One of them named or Netters. One name was
Oh
Seth.
shit.
One name
Here
was
we go
Horus.
I know
again.
And
Horace. I know
Seth,
that nigga.
yeah, and so but Seth banged Horus in his ass.
Yeah, but where'd the
Thank you,
conversation
Wack.
come from? Like,
Told you.
So the conversation is I'm battling. So when you look on the screen, you see three people. You see me, Sarnetta, and Shaka.
huh?
Shaka is the guy that believes in what I'm reading. So I'm
Oh,
reading
so
it.
what is it? What is it? He Shaka believes in
Shaka believes in Kemet. So he believes in everything Kemet. But when they
Kemet.
when they
Or what
talk
is Kemet? What
Kemet
is
is
that?
like Egyptian history. You know, like
Okay,
the
got you.
pharaohs, right? So the pharaohs
Okay,
and
so
stuff
the
like
Greek mythology and all that shit.
not Greek. I would say just Egypt because Greek
Okay,
kind of copied from Egypt. So, but they don't ever teach what I was reading. So I'm
okay,
reading
so
that.
you reading what he teach,
Right. So
what
I'm
he
reading
believes. Got you.
what he won't let what they don't like to tell people that Egypt was doing. So I'm reading that, and so that's why when I say this, what we doing, Si, and Si says,
Where'd you
"Where
get
did you
that
get
from?
that from?" Right. He's saying where I get that from because they don't want that type of information to come out. They just want you to think that they built the
So why you
pyramids.
didn't? Did you tell him where you got it from?
Yeah, I read it. And if you listen to it, I
He
say where
cut
it's
it. Nah,
from.
he cut y'all. Cut it.
I
Well,
think I
like,
said it comes from Pepe. If you play it again, it says it comes from like the Pepe. Cause so Pepe is the
so
guy
what
that
was
wrote.
dude
Excuse me.
response to that?
If you listen to the full tape, is on my channel. I mean, I'll put it on Instagram so everybody can hear the whole
Or
thing.
y'all drop it over here so we can.
Okay. Okay.
Where did
Yep.
where did the? So
Let me
what did
see.
he respond? What was his
He
response?
didn't have. He didn't have no response. He said. In a part of the clip, he said, "Yeah, it's probably true. I can't dispute it." That's what he said.
So his religion teaches homosexuality.
Yes. But when they tell people, when they teach it, so me battling them is why people know about it. But when people teach about Kemet, they only teach they built the pyramids, they knew math, they knew this, but they don't teach the gay stuff and incest for that matter. Because like King Tut, when they found King Tut's tomb,
They don't teach it or they don't expose it.
both, I would say they don't expose it.
Now,
I can't, yeah,
now
they
here
might
goes
teach
the
it, but they
thing.
might
Let me
teach it in
get
a
on the
different
other
way.
side of it, right?
Hmm.
Because I've been thinking about a lot of this shit, and I can't find the answers. When was homosexuality identified and labeled to be homosexuality?
I don't know
Because
what the
it's
term.
periods of times where they say men use that act to show their dominance. So, was there a time to where the law of the land said if a man did this to a man, it was putting a man in a place on how they stood to be looked at by other men as if it was a thing to beat their chest about? When did homosexuality start being frowned upon and identified as that word of what not to do?
The word homosexuality, I don't know when that came, but as far as the act itself,
Yeah,
I would
but
say I
when
would
did
say
they
the
identify that that was wrong?
I would say only the Bible personally. What I mean by Bible, not what we read as the Bible today. I'm talking about the nation of Israel. If you go from ancient cultures, because it's a cultural thing. So obviously Egypt didn't have that, so it wasn't a problem for them. But Israel did have that. It was a problem for them. So you'll read, mankind shall not lay with mankind as womankind. But some cultures, it might not be an issue. So I would say it's a cultural thing. But I think most people, most cultures to I won't say most cultures, but the culture that we subscribe to today is biblical based. And so that's why homosexuality is looked at as wrong. But you might find other cultures where
Okay.
they don't.
Okay, so where in the Bible does it talk about that?
You find it first in Genesis, the 19th chapter with Sodom and Gomorrah. That's where
Where's
the
that?
term sodomite comes from. It comes from the city Sodom. So God destroyed their whole city because they were lying with men. They didn't want to lie with women. That's where you first see a recorded act of being against what we today call homosexuality. And then when we come out of Egypt in Leviticus the 19th chapter, Moses say, after the doings of the Egyptians, ye shall not do. And it start naming a list of things: incest, homosexuality, seeing your daughter's nakedness, seeing your son's nakedness, because Egyptians would sleep with their daughters, would sleep with the pharaohs especially. A lot of the
They wanted their
pharaohs,
bloodline to stay pure.
right?
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When did they start seeing this as, okay, this is wrong? Because if it's a time where they saying this is right and this is the
Mhm.
ways of our land,
Hmm.
Do you hold that against them?
I'm not doing it. Whatever, like it's.
Okay,
I'll make.
Cap. If you're born, right?
Hmm.
You in the mountain somewhere, you born, right?
Right.
And you're raised and you're being taught as a little child to sleep in the doghouse.
Hmm.
You come to the city, the age of teenager. Where you gonna go try to sleep at?
In the doghouse, because
So
that's how
what
I
I'm
was raised.
so what I'm saying
But I don't.
is
I'm not arguing. Yeah, I'm not.
I'm looking at it from what we know it to be. What we know it to be, we know it to be. But in some of these stories, I ask myself, was this the ways of the land as just what it is?
Yeah,
Was
that's what, and that's what
was
I'm
it
saying.
deemed to be wrong and they still did it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Whack. Like if you talk about, that's why I said culturally speaking, you may have cultures that do a lot of things that other cultures don't do. So it's only wrong to that culture. So for me, it's wrong to my culture.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
somebody,
yeah.
yeah, but somebody else, it like for the Egyptians, that was not a problem. But for the Israelites, it was a problem. It's just two cultures, and once they come together, you find out what they agree with, what they disagree with. So they might agree with you can't murder nobody, but they're gonna disagree on who you can sleep with and who you can't sleep with. That's just different cultures. That's how it would be. So we look at it as wrong from our culture. Somebody else might not look at it as wrong. Just like more than one wife, like a man having more than one wife is cultural.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
they,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like all different type of worship of a god is cultural. People may
Hey
say,
bro, it was a clip I saw. Um I dropped it in the back channel not too long ago, but it was like the age groups where men could deal with women or vice versa. Nigga, that shit go all the way down to 11 years old.
"Good night."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Africa, somewhere in Africa was like 11. I want to
Mhm.
say Thailand might have been like 12, 13. Um, Different places, it was
Yeah.
different ages.
It's all different. Think about foods. Like you go over to China, what they eat and call food is not what we call food. You go to different countries and places, so culturally speaking, it's always going to be the indifference of things.
I
So
mean, you got some people over here that eat snake, but then I told a person, well, shit, I understand what you're saying. A snake can devour anything, whatever it devours it. The meat of the snake, nigga, is what is digesting. That's how a snake grows. But then you got the pig that eats anything too. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
Uh, so yeah, I was just wondering, you know,
yeah, that's a
from
cultural.
what you read,
Mm.
what era did it come from? Like, did them people like?
Yeah, it was natural for them. Like I don't read that like the Egyptians was doing something that they didn't believe in. That's why we're reading it from their records because they believed in it.
So the dude frowned upon it. The dude you was battling, or did
He
he just?
I can't say he necessarily frowned upon it. I can't say that. But he didn't want it to be out because when I read it, I said, so is this what we're going to teach to our black kids that
Or
you
what he
can
say?
allow this? And so that's when he kind of like backed up a little bit. That's why Sinetta was like, where did you get this from? Because
Sinetta, bro, is your op. You do know that, right?
yeah, you tell me all the time. But
Dude, dude be
he
trying to
got,
find
he
people.
got, that's my boy right there.
Yeah, okay. Dude, dude be trying to find people to take you down. That's his whole mission. And he looks like a damn fool every time. Cause even in that one, he was like, "Oh, where'd you get that?"
Yeah,
Like
where you get that from?
every time he get blitzed, he can't handle it.
But that there, but see that works for me. That's almost like you could say
No,
the
yeah, no, I
nature.
get it. No,
Right,
I get it.
right. Yeah, that's like the nature of our relationship in that regard because he has to try to debunk or whatever it is that I believe in. So he ain't online. He's not supposed to be on my side. He's
So
supposed to be.
what was going on with who was that trying to get in contact with you? Was it
Who?
Somebody from Nature Boys camp or the other weirdo?
Oh yeah, no, somebody from Nature. So Nature Boy, I think his wife and his gay lover was trying to use me to talk about knowledge or some shit like that, and I just wasn't having it. I wouldn't. I
So
wouldn't.
Nature Boy dealt with men too.
Yeah, dealt
Yeah,
with
he had a
men.
whole cult.
Yeah, he would have sex in front of his kids, let his kids play with his penis.
And one of
He
his
would
Oh
tell the
man,
wives
other
is
men
she actually does like interviews and stuff like that and talking about. Are you talking about the light skinned one, Captain? That's
well, he
the
has
waifu.
I don't
several.
know. I was over the phone, so I didn't see the person that called me.
Yeah, yeah, Dreas, he did.
If it's the more
So
vocal one is going to be the light skinned one. That's the one that's going to have reached out to. Because I followed that whole thing with that Nature Boy, like before he
Her
even went
name
to
is
trial.
Velvet.
Yeah,
You talk
we
about
ran it.
Velvet, Dre's.
We
Velvet.
ran it.
So with that one, like that Nature Boy shit was sick as fuck. They all was walking around naked with all kind of STDs
hmm
dripping out their body.
you
That
ever see
dude
them
told.
videos of the men he
Nah,
was
the
obeying and
the
shit?
most
Listen,
fucked up thing is when the lady died. The nigga told her to stop taking the medicine. She had diabetes, and she went over there and died.
that
Yep.
too,
And
but
the crazy part is,
oh, okay.
Wack. Go ahead, Dre.
Go ahead.
Nah, the crazy part about it though was that for a lot of these encounters, he went live like on
hmm
Bigo or YouTube and stuff like. I think he's in jail right now. Yeah, he is in jail. He got indicted off of that, but yeah, he has some crazy coach shit going on.
Yeah, definitely. And I've never had any interaction with him before he went to jail. Even before, so like him and Young Pharaoh kind of came up together, like Young before Nature Boy went crazy. But I've never had any interaction with him. So it's now I think because he's in jail, he wants to, I guess get his name or something out there. So I just wasn't entertaining it. So that's why I addressed him the way that I did. Especially some gay nigga talk to him. I want to talk about knowledge, nigga. I'm not talking to no gay nigga about no knowledge about no nature boy in jail. And we actually rescued a child from Costa Rica from them a couple years ago. So there's a sister in our school that used to be with them, and she had a son that he would not release. And so we actually went and got his son. And we got her son for him and everything. That's another reason I'll never
Cap,
fuck
let
with
me
him.
ask you a question. Cap, would you try to save one of them dudes that was in that camp?
What you mean?
What you mean? Would you allow somebody that was in that nature boy camp to come to your shit?
I don't know if they could come
I
into
don't know if they
school,
could
but
come
if
into
anybody
school,
called for
but if
help, they
anybody
could
called
try to
for
get
help,
some help.
they
I'll
could
do
try
some
to get some
counseling.
help. I do some counseling.
Um, yeah,
Um,
and then I would have to gauge it like that. I don't know about coming into school though.
Because you let the girl come into school is the only question I'm
Are you
asking.
on Bluetooth, Brock? It's causing an echo and you
Yeah,
low.
you sound low, bro.
Damn, that nigga trying to
I was just
struggle out the
saying
car.
I was just saying because you let the female come in and you said she was with that group.
Right. That's
Uh,
through vetting. That's through vetting and stuff like that.
so
Like
it's
with
a
anybody.
possibility that you would let them niggas in if they did. You just
It's
would
a,
have to
it's a
vet them.
if let's say if they live the homosexual lifestyle, from my experience of counseling them, they never make it to actually being in the school because they want to live that lifestyle. But let's say if it's somebody that did not live that lifestyle, they're probably restorable. Just from
Okay,
my
so
experience.
the chick you had, she wasn't quite there yet because
Nah.
was they
Uh-uh.
they wasn't out doing that.
Or the
Okay, I
time
thought they
Right.
was
limit
out
cap?
doing shit.
How long is it?
I sent it's like 34 minutes. I put it in the chat. I had put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat again.
Yeah, cause that scroll up gonna be long, bro. We over here
No bad.
popping it in the
I
chat.
just put it,
Huh?
yeah, I just put it back in the chat. It's like 34 minutes of him and I going back and forth. And you'll see I read the history of the Egypt shit, the sources and all that. And you'll hear his responses. Or
Hey,
lack
Cat,
of.
what's up, boy? You know that's my lane. What was the premise of it? I'm gonna
What's your
check it out.
lane?
Come on, man.
The
What was the premise of the debate though? Yeah, act like the
it
first
was
time we
me and
talked
Shot.
to him. Funny
I
boy.
didn't peep the I didn't
It's
peep your
Dell.
voice
What's
at
up,
first,
man?
Dale.
Yeah, yeah, we
Right.
good.
What's up? What's up? Um it was me and Shaka, and
Oh,
this was
Shaka. Okay.
before we you got it now. So we was having a debate, the Bible versus Kemet. So that's the premise.
But what?
So
Oh,
they
okay. Any
yeah. So the premise.
particular? Any particular?
I started reading excerpts from the Egyptian hieroglyphics and then asking him to defend it.
See, well, that's a setup because you know I study
It's not
that
a setup.
and read them. No, not for you. He can't read it.
No, I read it off the
No, no,
walls.
no.
Like
He
I ain't
couldn't
read the actual.
listen. He can't.
No. I wasn't asking him to read Metal
Hold
Netta.
on, bro. So you with the Egyptian shit too, Dale?
No, I studied it heavy.
Yeah, you Kemet?
Listen,
You
listen.
Huh?
Hold
Kemite?
on. Time out. Time out. It. Listen, man. That thing right there, trying to read that stuff and studying the language. Oh my God, it drive you crazy. But my point is this, Cap. He couldn't even tell you if you were wrong when you said what you said when you
I
were
read the
reading it.
source.
Well, was he wrong?
I got to check it out so I can
Yeah,
speak intelligently
we
to it.
gonna yeah,
But Shaka don't read the
yeah.
language, and you know that, Cat.
The sources don't lie. You don't have to read the
Yes, you
language.
do.
Metal Netta. If anybody keeps it 100, what they say is Metal Netta is not full Metal Netta because there's four letters that have never been translated.
That's not true either. But that's like somebody
Dr.
telling
Ben,
you,
listen, Dr. Ben
So
even
you
said that,
saying
bro.
Doctor
that
Ben.
nothing in there says he
Hold
was
on, that's Cat.
depositing semen in his buttocks?
But listen to what you just said, though, Cat. That's
Did you
like
hear Wack's
somebody.
question? Did you hear Wack's
No,
question?
I'm gonna address you first, and I get to that. That's
Oh,
like somebody saying you don't have to understand or read the Bible to tell you that you're wrong.
That's not what I said.
No, that's like what you said. You said you don't have
No,
to
it's
read
not
the
what I said.
language. That's
Like
Cat.
what I said and being what I said is two
But
different
you
things.
said you don't have to read the language to understand what the people were saying. That's like saying you don't have to read the Bible
No, you
and
don't.
go
No.
against you.
Okay, so when it comes to the Egyptian, there are respected translators: Faulkner, Miriam Litcham. Um, it's like two others, like
I
four
know.
that are respected.
I understand.
Okay, then. So when you read their translations, because their translations are respected and verified, you don't have to know the
That's not
language because
true.
you're going to
So
those
what
sources.
you telling me
No
then?
problem,
hold
brother.
on, Dale.
No
Hold on,
problem,
Dale.
brother. That
You're
only makes
approaching
sense
it
what you're
wrong.
saying. Yeah.
You're approaching it wrong, Dale. You can't approach this shit with emotions.
It's no emotion.
Okay, so here we go. This how you supposed to approach this.
Give me one more
So,
shot,
and
Wax.
whatever this book is on the Egyptian side, Cap has found that it references men having sex with men outright. That's what Cap is saying, right, Dale?
I think that's what he's saying. Now I gotta check out the video.
Okay. All right. So Cap studies and reference the Bible, right, Dale?
Correct.
Okay. So in the Bible, we can all say that angels are symbolic for what it's supposed to represent on the godly side, the Jesus side of it, right? Does it not say, Cap, in the Bible that the angels came down and fucked with men?
No, it don't say that.
You
It
sure
say
about that, Cap?
yeah, it say the
Slow
sons of
down,
God.
Cap, before you slow down, Cap.
Okay.
I want you to be absolutely sure about that, Cap.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So you said nowhere does it reference that the angels came down and laid with the men and had sex with
No.
the men?
It say sons of God, and people think sons of God means angels, but it's not angels.
So who's the sons of God?
Men are sons of God. Adam was a son of God, and so his sons would be sons of God. And so when it's saying sons of God in Genesis the sixth chapter, it's talk about interracial relations. So they were not supposed to mix with the other people. That's why when you read it, you'll never see a punishment to an angel. You only see punishment to
So who are the
mankind.
sons of God? So the sons of God's not symbolic for somebody that's on the
Some
godly side?
to Adam, yeah, to Adam and his seed or his
So if they
tribe, because
say
he was
sons of God is fucking men, then we got to say that that's on the godly
no,
side.
they wasn't having sex.
This
No,
how you
no,
fight back, Dale, right there.
No, but
nah,
watch this. Hey, listen.
that don't work though.
No, no, no.
That
Hold
nigga
on, Cap.
crazy.
I got you. But
It says the
Wack is.
sons of God saw the daughters of
I
men,
got
though.
you.
They had sex with the women.
I'm gonna
Watch the
let you have it
point I'm
now,
making, though,
Dale. You
Cap.
got it. There you go.
Yeah, but watch this. It's
Shout
only
out to the
one thing,
queen.
and
The
he going to
queen
agree
gave me the
with it.
direction.
I
He gonna
don't know
fumble
why.
it. He gonna fumble it. Whack. He gonna fumble
No,
it.
sir, I don't do that. But Cap, the reason you were able to tell Wack it wasn't what he said it was is because you understand your book. That's my point. He doesn't read that language.
I mean, what's your point?
You were only able to debunk or attempt to because you have a thorough understanding of what is written.
I have
Shaka
an
does not.
understanding of reading. Good,
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no. Shaka doesn't understand what is written. He understands the culture very well. He studied it for decades.
So
But if
let's
you
listen
put,
to it, and then
hold on,
you
hold on. I'm about to
explain when
land.
he
About to
bangs
land. About
sex
to
in his
land.
ass.
About to land, bro.
Yeah.
About to land. If you was to point him to a glyph on the wall, a hieroglyphic writing, he wouldn't be able to tell you heads from tails. But if
No
somebody put a
problem.
Bible
So
in
on
front of
the
you, you
mhm.
could break it down like nobody else. To your credit.
so
That's what
so
I'm
I can
saying.
read.
It's
So I
no
can
slight
read.
on you.
Okay. So when you
Dale,
read, good.
Dale, you gotta keep it right. See, your next thing should have been why doesn't it
I
speak
told you he was
against
gonna fumble it.
why doesn't it speak against homosexuality in the Ten Commandments? Dale, I'm trying to give you the game, Dale. You got to fight this nigga different.
No, we good. Me and Cap been doing for me.
Nah,
This
you
is
gotta
this is
fight him
all
different.
right,
Y'all
man.
know
I
how to
take the
fight this
coaching.
nigga.
I take the coaching. I take the coaching.
See, you letting it, you cannot put him in the space where he's comfortable at. You gotta put him in a space that makes him have to come up with the
That's
answer.
happened
See,
before.
if the answer's already there, this nigga know he didn't read it. You gotta make him come up with an answer that is yet to be written. So why is it homosexuality addressed in the Ten Commandments? Thou shalt not.
Mm. He gonna fumble it again,
No,
Wack.
he asked you the question that time. Talk about
Oh,
man.
okay. Oh, when it doesn't. So the Ten Commandments.
Uh-huh.
This is how you answer because you know this is different between me and you, Dale.
No,
There's
don't do
more
that. I
than
don't
ten.
take. Don't. Just
Oh, he
answer the
taking
question.
shots,
You got
Dale.
to take no. Yeah, slow down, cat.
Come on, man. So it's more than 10 commandments in the Bible. So when we was talking earlier in Leviticus, it tells you mankind shall not lie
We
with
talking about
mankind.
the
That is
commandments. The commandments lay out what
right.
should
This
and
is in the
shouldn't be
commandment. That,
doing.
but that's what.
Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not honor thy father, honor
Right.
thy mother, honor thy neighbor.
Right.
So you're saying that homosexuality really wasn't a thing amongst the people that
So in
practice the
Leviticus
Bible.
18, it says, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind." It says what you're saying. It just the there's just more than ten
Who wrote
commandments.
the book of Leviticus?
Moses,
The Levites. Listen,
the Moses wrote. Well,
listen,
Moses was a Levite, so
listen. So Moses is a dude
Moses
that
wrote
came
Exodus
along
too.
later on and said, I'm not with the
Moses wrote the Ten
homosexuality.
Commandments too. What? Moses wrote the Ten Commandments too.
Listen, what I'm trying but he forgot to put that part, so maybe
Nah,
Moses. Hey bro, you tell me what man is gonna mention killing, stealing your mother, your father, and a
well,
neighbor, and
okay, no
not
problem.
mention
That's a
you
good
ain't supposed to
question.
be rubbing testicles on anuses.
So that's a good question. And when you read Exodus 20, as he's giving those commandments, it'll tell you why it stopped at 10. When they saw the thundering and the lightning, because it was the Lord, it was God telling that to all the Israelites, the 10 commandments. And when they got to 10,
So
and they
God
saw the
didn't have
thundering
a problem with it with
wait, let me explain. So when they got to the 10 commandment, the children of Israel said, Moses, you go talk to God and then tell us what God said, and we'll
here go
listen
the
to you.
lineup. You don't think this should have been in the top five commandments?
Nah. Nah,
No.
the split the
We
tablets
got him.
come.
So you saying the homosexuality should not have been in the top five commandments?
I'm saying the way the Lord delivered
Yes
the
or no,
commandments was
Cap?
the way
I'm
the Lord.
asking you. You saying thou shall not be homosexuality. Man shall not deal with man in these ways. Should not have been mentioned in the top five commandments of the
I'm
Ten
saying that the
Commandments.
Lord can mention the commandments however He see
No, no.
fit.
I'm asking you, Cap. Dale, this how you get him, Dale, right? How you get him. Because now he got to own it or he got to say it's a violation. Either
No, I
way,
ain't got to
it's a
say it's no
win for me.
violation.
See, either way, Dale, he know I got him in the trick bag.
Quick
He know what
back.
I'm trying
Nah,
to do.
Yeah.
nah, ain't no
He
trick bag
know
at all.
either he gonna own it and say, yes, it should have been, victory on this, or he gonna say, yeah, that's a violation. They should, which now tells us it's a big discrepancy in this book.
There is no discrepancy in the book. The
So you said
timeline,
homosexuality isn't of importance to be in the top five commandments of the Ten Commandments.
all of the
So if that's the
commandments.
case, why are you using it against a brother like it's an issue? If
So
y'all
now
say it's
Christ,
no big deal,
but
why can't they say it's no big deal?
so Christ said, "Whosoever break the least commandment shall be least." So there is no such thing as a
No,
least
no,
value.
no. Here
Yeah,
where I
there is
kick
no
in
such
at
thing.
Dale.
There
No
is no
sin
such.
is what?
No sin is
Greater than the
greater or
next.
right,
Cap.
right,
Cap.
That's
right.
all, cat.
Yeah.
Come
Dale,
on,
how
I
you
mean,
fight this nigga, Dale?
I'm
yeah,
taking
Cap.
those.
y'all losing the fight though. Y'all
Huh?
losing the fight.
Not really,
No,
cat.
no,
Especially
no, no.
Dale. Wack,
Not
No,
listen,
no,
Dale.
really.
no,
Wack know
Cap,
you losing.
because
That's why Wack
you
trying to
have
help
just
you.
admitted that homosexuality wasn't that important enough
No, I did
for
not. I
your
did not say
God and
that.
Jesus
I did.
Christ
I did
to
not say
include
that.
that and being mentioned on the laws of the land.
That's not what I said. That's what
That's
you're trying to
definitely what
spin.
you said.
You said that that commandment has to be in the top five. What I'm saying, it doesn't matter where it's at. You can't break any commandment. That's
Well,
what I'm
guess
saying.
what? It ain't
But
Yeah.
it's not in
nowhere in
the
none of the
commandments. That's the
goddamn
It
point.
is
commandments.
the commandment. It's
It's
Leviticus, the 18th
no.
chapter. It's
Get
in the
him,
It,
Dale.
commandments.
Get him, Dale.
if it's
Yeah.
a commandment, wouldn't it say 11 commandments, not 10?
It don't say one
It
commandment.
says 10. It don't say the 10
Well, it
commandments.
says God
In
was all
Exodus,
right with
in
the butt
Exodus
fucking.
20. Well, so let's read the first. In Exodus
God
20,
was all
it does.
right with it, bro. He
Wait,
wasn't
hold
tripping.
up. In Exodus 20, it says, "Thou shalt have no gods before me." It doesn't say one, "Thou shalt have no God." It doesn't say two, "Thou shalt not make thee any graven image." It don't say three. It just says, "Thou shalt
Keep him
not."
going, Dale. Keep him
Don't got
going.
nothing to do with the commandments, though. That ain't
That
got
is
nothing
the
to do with
command.
the
Are
commandments.
you saying that "Thou shalt have no other gods before me"
So
is
are
not
you
a
telling
commandment?
me,
Is that what you're
you
saying?
telling me it's not 10 commandments,
Is
there's
that what you
more?
just said?
I'm asking.
Is that?
Did Moses
I
write
asked
more
my
than 10?
yes.
Then why is it not called 11?
Where is it called one, two, three, four, five, six,
So
seven?
you trying to tell me nobody
They
on
got
this floor
where
has heard
answer
of
the
the 10
question.
commandments? Hold on, hold on.
When I read where's it called one, two, three, four, five, six, seven?
I can show you where it's called 10 everywhere.
Where?
Really, cat?
Show it.
Really, cat? It should be called unlimited commandments then, based on what you said.
No, it shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. And no matter what you say, you ain't gonna get around that them Kemet niggas was into some gay shit.
When you read that shit, Cap said, we gonna say, yeah, that's some gay shit. Or that's a culture that practice homosexuality.
Right. Without it, it wouldn't be bad for them. Like that, and that's what I be talking about. Like,
Look at that.
and
I'm trying
and
my
the
own.
argument, the only argument that comes when I bring that up is because the
Now, do
men
they
that
still, have they corrected that or do they still stand by
well,
that?
I don't even know anybody in 2025 that still practices that are actually Egyptian. I don't know if Egyptians. It's mainly black people, and so the battle really comes whack is when I'm battling black people over here on that subject, and because they don't agree with homosexuality, when we read what that culture did, they fight it because of their belief against homosexuality. Not that the Egyptians had an issue with it, because the Egyptians didn't have an issue with it. Egyptians had a guy named Men who used to. Oh, I ain't gonna go into all that, but they had
Yeah,
gods
you
that just
wild.
they just you know about men though, but they had gods that did wild things. But to Egyptians, that was their culture. If you go further than Egyptians believe you can get a woman pregnant by the mouth. You know what that meant, right? Salakia.
Bro,
So there's things in
everything you
that
said, the stories are not about people.
you can't say the stories are not about
I can
people.
say, I
And
just
no,
said
here
that.
you gotta let me finish the statement. You gotta let me
It's
finish
just
it.
like your
You
fairies
can't.
in the
You gotta
Bible.
let
You
me.
said they
You gotta
not
let
people,
me.
right?
You gotta.
Hold
No,
on,
they are
hold on.
people. I
No,
never.
I'm adding clarity for the floor. Just like your
But you're not
fairies,
letting me
when
finish to know what I'm saying to
but
add
cat, you
clarity
about
to.
to attack something you don't understand what I'm
I'm not
saying.
a. You don't know
So when
what I'm saying. Like you gotta get out your feelings.
because
Dale,
you
let me
don't,
just finish the statement.
bro, stop with when you speak with passion about your little
But you're
Bible, nobody say
interrupting me in
feelings.
the
So
middle of.
chill.
You
No, but you
interrupting me in the
always
middle of
say
my
feelings,
statement.
but you love that Bible, so stop.
But I do love it, and
Exactly.
I wouldn't
That's
stop you
feelings.
if you was
Love is
making
a
your
feeling.
statement about it. Right, but let me finish my statement. You can't say that it's not real people for this reason. Number one, it's men that are writing these records, and then men that are emulating what they're writing about the netters. They don't use the term God, they use the term netters. They have a bunch of netters. So here's an example. You got the sky netter Newt, you got the earth netter Geb. In men's folklore of writing about them, they were brother and sister that was having sex with each other, and their father had to separate them. That's how you have the sky, that's how you have the earth. Now, how does that correlate to actual life? Brothers and sisters had sex with each other so that as them believing pharaohs and keeping that bloodline pure, they would sleep with each other and then have children. So you can't say that it's not real when the people that wrote it emulated what they wrote.
Are you done
You
talking
can't say
about?
it's
Are
not.
you done? Are you
Yeah.
good? Because now I
Yeah.
can clarify
Yes,
for
I am.
people. So, men also wrote your Bible. They wrote about fairies. They emulated what the fairies and angels was doing. So, what's your point? And for the sky and the earth, for plants to grow and for life to grow, the sky would provide the seminal whatever for the earth. That was the metaphor. It wasn't people.
Yeah, that went way over your head. When you
It
mention
ain't go
fairies, if
over,
you're gonna
dog. It
talk
ain't
about
that
the
deep, dog. I'm gonna learn
if
it,
you're gonna
dude. Dog,
mention the
dog.
Bible, if you're
Dog.
gonna mention fairies in the Bible, at least you ain't say
Hey,
nothing
hold
that
on.
they did in the
Just
Bible.
stop real
I'm
quick. Just
telling
stop real
you,
quick. You line for line said men wrote these stories for Kemet and emulated the stories about the netters. Men also wrote the stories in the Bible and emulated what the fairies did.
fairy is not in the Bible though.
What is? What do
When
you
you say
call it?
fairy, you
Because
talking about
earlier you
homos?
said that. Angels,
One second.
angels, angels, angels. How about that?
Okay, what did they emulate that
I
angels
don't know.
did?
You the one that made the emulation comment.
You
You
made
said
this
that.
argument.
No, no,
Wait,
no.
hold on.
You
I didn't say
said, whoa,
nothing
whoa, whoa.
about what angels. Hear what I'm saying,
Let's
Daryl.
go
I know
back
you.
and forth. Let's go
How
back
you
and
did.
forth one at a
How you
time.
did. How you did line for line for me. When I spoke about what the pharaohs did by their brothers and sisters sleeping with each other, because Geb and Newt slept with each other, you countered by saying what the fairies did, the writers of the Bible emulated. But then I asked you, what is a fairy? You said the angels.
She was a fairy.
I'm asking you, what are the angels doing that the men emulated? You're not saying
No, no,
that.
no.
You're just
Yeah,
saying,
because that's not the point. But the point is, you're trying to say that since men wrote it, they emulated whatever spiritual beings that they wrote about. They emulated that. And that's your point?
what my
I
point
mean, that's
is
a yes
that
or
when you
no. No,
said,
that's a yes or no.
wait, can you say it one more
No, no,
time,
no.
please?
You said, and you're right, about men writing the literature, right? And it's about netters.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that they emulated what the netters did, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Okay. And I was just making the same correlation. Men wrote about spiritual figures. If they're not fairies, I apologize, but angels or whatever, right? Did your Bible writers also emulate what they wrote about
Oh, okay.
that the
So if
angels
you
did? That's it. That was
okay,
it. It was
I
just a
would got you, but
logical.
I don't
That's
right,
all.
but
That's all.
if you okay,
I'm
I think I'm
asking you
trying to get
because
what you're
you're a
saying.
Bible. You know the Bible. You know what I'm
I'm going to
saying?
respond. I'm trying to get what you're saying because you didn't give an example. So if you're saying that if the angels obey God, we obey God, that's an example. Yes. I'm not arguing that. Nobody's arguing that the writers of the Bible wrote about God and did what God said, did what the angel said. That ain't the argument. The argument is the argument here is what the Egyptians did as far as homosexuality goes was not frowned upon by them during that time. Incest that they did was not frowned upon by them at that time. That not only did the Egyptians themselves do it, but the netters that they believed in did it that was written by them. That's the only argument. You're
But what you're
defending
trying
it
to wait,
because
wait,
you're
wait.
against
But
homosexuality
wait,
and
no, no,
you're
no, no,
against
no. That
incest.
you're that. Listen, listen. That's your whole thing, right? But what you never provide is literature of men doing that to other men. You're only making a leap about what they wrote about the netters. The same way somebody can make the leap if the angels laid with men. Why wouldn't men lay with men?
No, so here's the difference.
See?
In Genesis the sixth chapter, I'm gonna just tell you the difference. The difference in Genesis the sixth chapter, it doesn't use the word angel. It used the word sons of God, which Israel is sons of God. Psalms 82 and 6, ye are gods. We can read where men are gods. In the Egyptian folklore that we talking about, Seth and Horus are netters, or what we would look at as gods, having sex with each other. You're not going to read two angels having sex with each other. You're not going to read a God having sex with an angel in the Bible. You're not going to read that. But we can read, not only did they have sex with each other, but then he called the semen out of Horus' ear. That's in their folklore.
Do you see any men? Does it say any men?
Doesn't I
Yeah.
never said I said net.
Okay.
The word I
All right.
used
I
was
rest it.
netters.
I'm just telling you what you're doing is since they
I'm not doing
anthropomorph.
anything.
Hold on. Since they anthropomorphize a lot of things that had to do with humans, they put it in the spiritual realm to make sense of it, right? So if they
I don't know
see,
what you make sense
hold
of
on,
banging a nigga in his
hold
ass.
on, can I just
Hey,
finish?
let him land, Cap.
How
Yeah.
you gonna say let him
So
land when he been interrupting me when he wanted to?
I'm sorry, Cap. I'm sorry. So listen. So if the sky provides rain and plants come up, when you're doing it from a human perception, you're thinking it brought life to Earth from the sky. That is how they wrote.
You done now? So now that is not how they
That
wrote
is how you
initially.
can't.
The sky.
First off, what I ain't gonna let you
Now
do,
you now
what I'm
now
not,
you
no,
just
no, no.
said now
But what
now
I'm
I
not
just
gonna let
asked
you
if you
do,
was
no.
I just
But what I'm,
asked if
hold
you
on,
was
just pause for a
done.
second.
I just asked,
No,
why I gotta pause?
because
You interrupted
you
me,
can
man.
say, listen,
Why
listen,
you get why you getting on it emotional?
because
Like I
it
you
ain't
did-
about you keep saying that,
Ebony
though.
just came off mic and said let him land. I just
Yeah,
asked
but
if
you're
you was
not gonna
done.
start
You
off
didn't say
with
nothing,
that's
and then
not.
now when I respond.
Hold on, Dale. You gotta let him land. He asked you,
And
so
just say what you
let him
said.
rebuttal.
Thank you. What you're trying to do is put a spin on it. If you go further into Gab, Kemet is one of the only, excuse me, maybe not the only, but their earth is a man. Every other culture, the earth is a woman. And when you go into their records, they say that Gab poured seed in his mouth and brought forth creation. And the image of it is a man with a penis aimed at his mouth. That's their records. That's what they said. So I'm not making this up. And the only reason you get the sky and the earth in their folklore is because they was having sex with each other and their father had to separate them. That's their records. So if you want to give me the agricultural afterwards, that's fine. But that's not addressing what I initially said about the sky and the earth being brother and sister, and the father had to stop them from having sex with each other by separating them. And that's how you have the sky and the earth. I'm done now.
You should be, dog, because that's how you're always going to see it from your Israelite perspective, and that's fine. You know, I respect your what you follow, what you believe. But if you get a counter from another side, just know that exists
And just
too. And
understand, Dale, what side do you fall on?
I study a lot of Nile Valley, so a lot of their stories are like mythological and, like I said, anthropomorphized. So what that all that means is everything that happens in nature, you put a human element to it because you can only understand things through a human eye. You understand what I'm saying? So
Okay, so
everything
you're
look,
more so spiritual?
yeah. But what I'm saying
Okay.
is the way that they wrote was basically telling every story from a human experience, but at the spiritual level. So it's tough. And that was their culture. And they got tons of books on it and tons of writings and walls all filled up to the day. And I spent a lot of time reading it. So, but
Absolutely.
I can understand his interpretation of it because he's an Israelite and an intelligent Israelite. So, I mean, I've been around Cat for a long time, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I get
a
that.
lot of years, and he's good at what he
But
do.
you know, I had
Yeah, but
to
there's always going to be a bump of heads when we talk. It's always going to be that, but it's going to be respectful because I
always.
respect what his people do and what they
But when
believe. You
y'all
know what I'm
get to
saying?
talking about
And he knows how I
religion,
go
I
on the
only
other
ask
side.
that just to understand what side of the fence you're coming from. That's all. That's
Yeah,
why I
and
asked.
and just and also just for the record, it's not me coming from an Israelite position. It's just me reading. If I wasn't an Israelite and I read these records, I wouldn't agree with it either. I wouldn't agree with you can sleep with your sister or your brother or your daughter or your son. I'm not going to agree with that. I'm not going to agree with a man laying with a man.
Yeah, but that I
I'm not
get you
going to.
with that. We don't disagree on a lie, Cap. You already know that,
Right. That's what I'm
right?
saying. And so,
And
and
it,
then, and then
like,
in
listen,
this
logic is
argument,
logic, and neither one of us is going to piss in the face like a lot.
right, right.
Like
That's
logic is
all I'm saying.
logic,
So
bro.
this ain't
You understand? So
this. I,
the
I
only
just want
hold
for.
on, but the
Hey, Dale, you interrupted me
oh,
though.
good.
Yeah, appreciate it. But I just want for the record, this has nothing to do with me being an Israelite. This is not an Israelite conversation. This is a Kemet, Egypt, and this is what we find that they wrote of themselves that they didn't have an issue with. This is their records. As a man, I wouldn't agree with none of this. So
Yeah,
this
but
ain't
you
got
being
nothing to do with me.
disingenuous by saying, because I've had plenty of talks about this with non-Israelites. So to say that your Israelite teaching won't influence how you see it is a little disingenuous, because you can't even take yourself out of that view now. If you studied this before you was an Israelite, you could say that because you had a perspective. You start studying this after you became an Israelite. So you don't have a non-Israelite perspective, to be fair.
No, what I mean as a man,
I'm not
I
I'm
would
not
never
disagreeing
think.
with that, but I'm saying your lens is still your lens now.
Right. No, I get what you're saying as me being an
And
Israelite
there's nothing
now. What I'm
wrong
saying,
with that either. Like it
right, but
makes
before I was
it.
an
Oh, go ahead.
Israelite, right, but before I was an Israelite, my sexual lens was the same. Who I can have sex with, who I
We're
cannot
not
have sex
disagreeing
with,
about that.
what type of right. That so, but that's what we're talking about.
No, no, no.
Essentially,
What I'm
that's what we
uh,
talk. What we talking about with Kemet. The subject right now is two men, two netters having sex with each other, and a brother and sister netter having sex with each other. They father got to separate 'em. So to break it down in the simplest form, we're talking about sexual deviancy to me, because in my lens. A man and a woman is who you have sex with, not your daughter, not your sister, not your mother, not your father, auntie, whoever it may be. That's all
Can I ask a
sexual.
question?
so let me ask one last
Go
question. I'm
ahead,
gonna
Dale.
pass to you. Who was that said that?
This
Go
ain't,
ahead. Oh,
no, you go.
so let me ask you this. So in your Bible, this, and he probably got a good answer for this. He done been around the block. If Adam and Eve populated the earth, would sisters and brothers have not had to get together for the earth to get populated?
Yeah, Adam and Eve didn't populate the earth. When you read Genesis 1, it told them to subdue the earth. Male and female created he them. He didn't create Adam. Adam was already alive when he got the breath of life. When Cain killed Abel, what did Cain say? All them that see me will slay me, because there was other people besides Adam and Eve. Adam is not the first man on the earth. He's the first man that God spoke to in the Bible. That's it.
So there was other men
And women.
that was created not by God.
No, no, no. That ain't what I said. And the creation.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why you said that,
Because
because it make it worse
Adam
for
and
you.
Eve
I
weren't
said
the first humans
mankind.
created.
I said no. Mankind was created on the sixth day. That's what I just said. And he told them to subdue the earth. Just like animals was created in abundance, mankind was created in abundance. On the seventh day is when you get Adam get the breath of life. The life is living according to the law. So Adam and Eve are not the first people on the planet. No.
Hey, can you? And I ain't saying no more. We good. This is a good discussion. What verse should I go to find out what the other people did?
You can go to Genesis, the third chapter, when it says the serpent was more subtle than all the beasts of the field. We were called beasts. You can get that in Ezekiel 34. Children of Israel is called the sheep. When Cain kills Abel, Cain says, all that see me will slay me. Then he leaves from the presence of his mother and father and goes to the land of Nod, which if you go into another land that's named already, it's other people there. And then he gets a wife there. That's how you know there was other people. He goes to a different land, separated from his mother and father, and he gets a wife there. How can he go get a wife if there's only Adam and Eve? Doesn't make sense.
So all this happened right after Adam and Eve was created, or is this not generations later? This is right after.
What are you talking about?
You just named people outside of Adam and Eve that are in the Bible. I'm talking about the people not named in the Bible. Can you go to the Bible to find out what their goings on was? That's my
No,
question.
because so
Not the people named.
when you read Genesis before the flood, you're just getting Adam, Eve, Abel. um, Noah, flood, and then that's it. You get more detail after the flood.
Okay.
So before the flood, you just getting the creation of everything. You're getting Adam and Eve, their disobedience, the serpent's disobedience, which the serpent is not a real snake, it's a man. So, and then that, and then you see Cain kills Abel. He gets his wife. That's how you know when it says the sons of God saw the daughters of men. Adam is a son of God. Seth is a son of God. All of them are sons of God, and they just wasn't supposed to marry outside of their tribe. They were supposed to marry within their tribe. And so that's you see the punishment of man. You don't see punishment of no angels, and then that's that. Listen,
Hey,
Dale,
we're
come
gonna
to
build on
class,
this
man. I
another
could
time.
teach you. Yeah, come to class. I'll
Hey,
teach you,
listen.
man.
Hey, Cat, we gonna build outside. I would
No
dominate
sweat.
the whatever.
No sweat.
Salute to the floor though.
Hey,
No, but
salute
we're
to
gonna
y'all
have
too.
another sidebar. I got some good stuff for you though. I
No
want to
problem.
talk
I
about.
appreciate it. All right.
Hmm, I had a question too, but I ain't going. Hmm. Well, not so much of a question, but I think it was a statement that I had. But good debate, guys.
It's just Cat, man.
Thank
That's
you.
what we do.
Yep.
To
Yep.
be honest, I
Salute,
just did
Cat.
want to ask you though, like, you how do you know that you are an Israelite? Are you a descendant of Jacob?
That probably would be a question for me,
That's a
not
Cat,
Dale,
right?
right?
Not me.
No, not you, Cap.
Oh, Dale. I don't know if Dale subscribes to that.
No, it was for you. That was for you.
Yeah, that was for you.
Oh, so we go by. That's why I asked you. Was that to me? You said I thought you said no. My
Oh no,
bad.
no, no.
Um.
Both y'all came off at the same time. I was talking
Oh.
to
Oh.
Dale.
Okay. Oh. See, she keeps saying she talking to Dale, but it's for
No, I'm
me.
talking to you. Dale was off the mic.
Oh. 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 Okay. I thought she said
She
I'm talking to
responded to
Dale. I
Yeah, I
thought
Dale.
she just.
responded to him. It
Yeah.
was two birds, one stone. But I was
Oh,
asking
my
you a
bad.
question in the same breath, though.
So the way got you. So the way we determine, as far as the children of Israel, all races still exist, biblically speaking. So we identify
What do
the
you
races in the
identify as,
Bible.
though?
The Israelite identifies as an Israelite based on the Bible, based on history, based on prophecy. So
Well, the
identifies as
Israelites were descendants of Jacob, and he was also
yes,
renamed as Israel,
right,
and whose 12 sons became the heads of the 12 tribes of Israel,
right,
right?
right,
And these tribes formed the nation of Israel in the Old Testament. So,
right, all the
is
way up
that
into
what
the
you
New
are?
Testament. Right,
Is that what you are
claiming
you
to
a
be
descendant of that?
yes.
No, I didn't say claim it to be. No, I'm not attacking you at all. I'm just really just trying to
No,
understand.
I didn't take it as an attack. I was just trying to help
Yeah,
you so I could
for
understand
sure.
what you were saying. No, yeah, that's exactly who I am.
My only thing, Cap, is like what y'all think, what you just said about Adam and Eve. I agree with Dale. My interpretation is that like Dale's that they were the first humans created according to the Bible, according to everything that I know. And even when I just went back and just was like looking through it my damn self, I can't find nothing else that wouldn't point to them having children and then them having, their children would have had to multiply with their children or their children's children. You know what I'm saying? It would have had to
I
been.
don't know, bro, because Genesis 1 and 26, I believe that's where it's gonna let you know that they made them we made them in our image type shit. So that's
Yeah,
already plural to say
Genesis
that it's not
128 is where it's gonna tell you God blessed them and told them be fruitful and multiply and
right,
fill the
right. So
earth.
now if you wanna interpret it to say, oh, that was just Adam and Eve, you could, but you can't say that that
It's
wasn't
never
multiple
no,
generations.
it's nothing pointing to that was not
Well,
just Adam and Eve.
here's how you know. Here's how you know.
No, but listen, it is because the first person, when you go longer on, the first person that he actually gives all the extra to is Adam. That don't mean that Adam wasn't amongst a bunch of people.
Right, that's it. Right.
I
Right
mean,
here.
you would have to have that interpretation, but like I just don't see nothing that
So
point to that.
here's what you
That's
can
And
all
not
I'm
have.
in the
saying.
Here's what you can
inheritance,
have
right?
to point to it. So when you read in Genesis 1 and 28, that's the sixth day. The Bible says a day unto the Lord is 1,000 years. When you read Genesis, the second chapter, and you start talking about Adam, that's on a totally different day, the seventh day. So that's 1,000 years or a span of
Hmm.
time that mankind is allowed to be fruitful and multiply as they were told to do. So when
What's the
Adam is
1,000 year thing? I'm sorry, Cat. Just in
the
case people
Bible,
don't know. I don't know.
yeah, the Bible says a day unto the Lord is as 1,000 years. So when you see in Genesis 1, the days, it's not a 24-hour cycle, it's a span of time. So there's a span of time it took to do all of the things that it took to make the earth, to make the animals, to make the seed, to make the birds, XYZ. So when he tells mankind to be fruitful and multiply on the sixth day, and then on the seventh day is when he starts dealing with Adam, that's a span of time that mankind gets to reproduce themselves. So when
Okay.
Adam
Okay.
Got you. So when Adam is given the breath of life, and when you reading about the breath of life in the Bible, it's talk about keeping the commandments. You can read that in Deuteronomy
But
30. You
so
can
So,
so wait,
yeah, go ahead.
how come in Genesis 1:5 it tells you, and there was evening, there was morning the first day? Cause that to me symbolizes that it's telling you that each day is gonna be evening and then morning, and then that symbolizes a day. Next day, evening and morning. So you could take that 1,000 years, you can say that, but I could say that. That's why I say
yeah,
my
Yeah,
but
like where I don't
interpretation.
know where the
That's why I
thousand
say
comes
my
from, but
interpret. That's why my interpretation is different because everything that I've seen ever, and that's always been a question of mine. That's always kind of fucked me up about the Bible, but it would have had to have incest, bro. There's no
So,
way around it.
hey,
I
so
know it's
Dale.
fucked up, but that's just what it is.
So, and the aspect of the seven, the thousands,
yeah.
when
Uh
it's
huh.
day one, when it's talking about creating the sun, that's one full 1,000 year, is what
right,
Cap is saying. You
right.
feel me?
So
One
you can
one
read that.
dance to one dance into 1,000 years to the Lord. So that
Right.
first day, that's 1,000.
Now,
That's saying, I believe,
Yeah,
I believe that the people
I
are
don't agree with
listen.
that part.
People are already listen. Hold on, brother. People are already on the earth from the first 1,000. They don't pick Adam until the fifth day, which is the 5,000 years.
okay. So
Seventh
my
day.
question. Okay,
If we're going off of
I got you.
that logic.
And
I'm
just
gonna
so,
follow
and
that
Dale, just
logic.
so
Hold
you can
on.
have the scripture,
Oh, go ahead,
I'm just
bro.
going to give you the scripture that you can go to. Second Peter 3:8. It says, "But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and as 1,000 years one day." So in creation has nothing to do with mankind's form of time.
Okay.
It's not
So
our when man is alive, then they deal with their form of time.
so oh,
But the Lord's time in Genesis 1 is different.
Can you
so hold
repeat
on.
that? You
Oh,
said
go ahead.
Peter 1:8.
Second Peter's 3:8.
Second
No,
Peter's.
he talking about Second
So
Peter three
All
eight.
right.
That's
so
true.
this is
That's later.
where since you and Bumpy, to his credit, y'all know this book, right? So y'all know how to interpret it, right? So you got to understand, you talking to people that may be in it a little bit, a lot, not, but not like y'all, right? So when he says a day to the Lord is like 1,000 to man, that kind of speaks to me, not to go against what you said, but
No, no,
how
to the Lord.
powerful.
No,
Hold on.
no, Dale. Just
No,
so
I'm
you,
just saying, hold on.
no, you said to
I'm going to
man. I'm
finish
just
the
saying
sentence.
the verse says to the Lord. That's all.
I got you. Whatever you said, let me, in case I say it wrong, right? It just speaks to the power of the Lord and what the Lord can do in a day. He could do 1,000 years worth of things in a day. But if the Bible is written for man and a man is reading it, I don't see a man seeing day and thinking 1,000 years. You understand what I'm saying? It's not quite written like that. You know what I mean?
I can see what you're
I
saying. I can see
agree.
what you're saying.
No, Bumpy. That's exactly what I'm saying.
No, I'm listening,
That
bro. I'm saying I can
I
agree to
agree.
why he's saying that.
That's how
I'm agree to why he's saying that. I can see why if you're
whenever
not.
you look at the whenever you look at that, that's the interpretation of when you see that comes later in the Bible, but in the beginning it tells you that it does state what a day is. It's literally telling you verbatim what a day
Where does
is.
it say
It
24 hours?
I mean 24 hours is your interpretation of whatever
But
evening,
that's what you're
morning.
thinking a day is, right?
Hold on. No, you gotta let me land. I said that it's morning and it's night and it's evening. That's what it says. Whatever kind of construct of hours, whether you go on a 24-hour scale or 36-hour scale that makes that day, whatever you want to make that time, that's your decision within
But it
your little
doesn't
culture.
explicitly talk
But
about
what it's
24 hours, bro.
yeah, I never said 24 hours. I don't know why you keep
So
saying
what
that.
time are
I'm just
you
This
saying
is
thinking
that
my
it
first
I'm
is?
time
telling
coming
you
off the
that
mic.
well, he just said the same thing, and you just
Because I
said the
just
same
looked it
thing.
up.
No, no, no. I said I'm asking you what time do you think that is?
I'm just
Because
saying
I'm giving a time that I think it
it's a
is based on
typical
the Bible.
day.
It's a day.
It's a
So you're talking about
typical
in Genesis
day.
1:5, and it says in the
So
evening
in
and the
our
morning
world,
were the first
you got let me land. In
first
our world,
day.
and I'm gonna pass it to you. In our world, is literally when the morning and the evening,
That's what Jake
it's a
said.
day. So whatever you want to make that time, it whatever to us is 24 hours in America. But yes, it's the morning and the evening. It says
Nigga,
that's a
I was
day.
trying to
That's what it
help
says
you.
in the Bible.
Because
No, I'm
I
with you.
had
Go,
the
go. I
proof
just be
right
like, I just
here.
be trying to land,
I
kinfolk. Go
had the
ahead,
So
King.
proof,
just so
Kimbo.
you
I
can
wasn't saying this smartly.
understand,
I wasn't trying to be smart or nothing.
just to further so you can understand, it's not our concept of time of a cycle. The sun wasn't even created yet. Sun is not created until the fourth day, I believe. When it talks about light in the beginning, that light is what joined the earth. So in the first chapter, it says the earth was without form, which if anybody knows the periodic chart, the earth is in its elemental state. When it says let there be light, it's talk about the earth's core.
Genesis 1:14.
Right, is when the sun is created. So the sun is not created until verse 14. So when it's saying evening and morning, it's the Lord's time. It's not our time. We don't develop our concept of time until mankind is created and is told to do things according to the suns, the seasons, XYZ like that. So biblically speaking, when Peter says in Second Peter 3 and 8, he's speaking from what he knows of the Israelites and what was handed down to them. So it's not a new thing in the sense of they just saying that now. They just found this out now. They're saying that because Peter was with Christ. He knew the scriptures and he understood it. So when we say a day unto the Lord is as 1,000 years, it's not even an exact. It's just a span of time. So back on subject, on the sixth day when mankind is created, you don't hear of Adam getting anything from the Lord until the seventh day, a totally different day from the sixth day that he created mankind. So whatever sense
So
of time,
Which
okay,
to me constructs our weeks. Like that's
so
all
hold
it
on.
is.
which
That
we
constructs
constructs
a
Yeah.
out
week.
what? What's it?
That
What you say?
constructs a week, 7 days.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
like it's
That
literal, bro.
again, but you don't
It's
have no
very
biblical basis to
no.
back
But
I
up
that's a
my
that.
man made
biblical
but it
basis.
concept,
says
Brock.
that.
My biblical
No,
basis is
no,
Genesis
time is not
one
No,
man
you
made.
five,
can go
where
ahead
it
and take
says
it how you want to, but no, that's not what it says in the Bible. No, it
in
was
What
the
you
Bible
not.
it
mean?
says
In the
in Genesis
Bible,
1:5 it
okay,
says in God
Genesis
caused
one
the light.
14 through 19. And
No, go
God
one
said,
five.
Let
Read 1:5.
no,
Read
let's go.
Genesis 1:5.
No, we're gonna go right here.
Read five, then
Genesis
read yours,
1.
King.
If
I'm
you
gonna
don't
go
read
ahead and
Genesis one
read
five, then you
the
skipping
King
over it.
James Version 1:14 through 19. And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament in heaven to divide the day from the night, and let therefore be signs and for seasons and for days and years. God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night, the moon. He made the stars also. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And then it also goes, well, we can go to Genesis 1 3. And that's probably what you're talking about. Let there be light.
No, I'm talking
But you're
about
So,
making
Genesis
Brock's
one
point with
but
five.
that.
we're talking about
How could that be
We're
Brock's
talking
time
point if the
about
is
sun
Genesis
time
and the
one
moon is
period.
five,
not
bro.
But
That's
created?
Tink,
my
Tink,
whole
Tink.
point.
Okay, let me go
You,
to it. Let me go
Yeah,
to it.
what
Let me
you
go to it.
building
Fuck
off
it.
of is my
Let's
point.
go.
How
Let's
the hell
go.
you gonna
Let's
tell
go.
me what we talking
yeah.
about? That's my point.
You
Like I'm
said
talking about
Genesis.
Genesis one five.
All right. And God called the light day, and the darkness called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
That's it.
Okay.
He
That's
literally
it. That's
breaks
what he's
down what a
saying.
day is.
Like,
Like if you want to
right.
What
complicate
is
that
the
shit,
okay? What I'm
complicate it.
asking y'all? Okay, y'all. So if a day to the Lord is 1,000 years, is the day in
He
Genesis one
didn't
the
say
Lord's day
That's
literally
Bro,
is a
we
according to
thousand
can't
you,
we
though,
can't
years.
I'm
Cap.
say
It
asking.
don't
what
Kev
say
I'm gonna
that.
told
ask a
you
but
question. I'm
y'all
what the
trying to
didn't
ask a
we don't
interpretation
know
question.
what
means of
God
that.
was
I'm just
saying.
trying
It's
to ask.
all
No, he
man
said it.
I'm
concept.
just.
Wait,
Dale,
wait,
can
I'm
wait,
you
just
wait.
trying
break
to
down
But
the
ask a
how
question.
interpretation of
okay,
the
so in
thousand
a
years
day,
again?
let's say
Hold
who's
on, King.
all just to start from
Okay.
scratch, gang. How is we able to even just say that yeah, a day is 24 hours? Because to
King, King.
God,
You missing
that
the
could be
point,
a
Okay.
bro.
thousand fucking
No,
years.
but listen to me. If it was 1,000 years, then they would write 1,000 years.
No, the
Like, why
Bible don't
write a
write
day if
like
it ain't a
that. The
day? Like,
Bible,
what are we
hold on,
talking
hold on.
about?
The Bible does not write like that. When you read the
They
book of
don't
Daniel,
do it
for
like that,
example,
gang.
the Bible
It
don't
don't
write
mean
like
day
that.
when
You
it
can
say
read in
day.
Jan.
You hear this,
All
Brock?
I'm just trying to do is finish. You can read Revelation. It
I'm
don't
done with
But
it.
no,
like when
y'all
you
also
read
have to
when you the
realize,
life and
Captain,
death.
At this
correct me
point, I
if
think
I'm
they
wrong,
trolling me.
Captain, but we also have to realize the time span of a human was relatively super longer than what we live now, whereas so now we live only
Even
70 years. Then they were living for thousands of fucking years. So time
Allegedly,
was
but that's not the
different.
point, though.
even even
But
No,
even
time was
hold on.
different, gang.
here's what you have to understand with the Bible. It ain't just day and night. Life and death don't mean literal death and literal coming to life either. When you're reading the Bible, you have to read it in the context. So if you're going to tell me day means something different than what the day means to the Lord, you have to show me that in the Bible if that's what we talk about. You can't use your imagination of what you think. But if you have, like, I use the biblical verse to establish what the day means to the Lord. Do you have a biblical verse in that same chapter to say that it means the opposite of what the day means to the Lord?
So
Yeah,
here
That's
we
what
what
I'm
I
go.
have
asking.
All right.
is
So
in
hold on. Here's my
Genesis
response
1
real quick.
5, it says, and God called, I'm going to pass it to you, Dale. It
Oh,
says,
you good?
and God called the light day. Well, that means that God called the light day because that means that there had to be light. He's referencing light day. He's calling the light day. Like if I go outside right now, there's what we call in our
Daytime.
language daylight.
That doesn't work
So
because
so
the
so
sentence
so hold on,
prior to
hold on,
that
hold on,
lets
hold
you
on.
know. Hold on, bro. I can't let you do that, bro,
Bro, I'm gonna
because it
pass
lets
it.
you
I'm gonna
know.
Yeah, that's
pass
why
it.
I'm
No,
I'm
not
trying to
it
agreeing with
land.
lets
this
you.
one,
Hold
It lets
on.
you
Dale.
know what
You're
that
not
day
trying to
is
let me
used for,
land, and I'm
brother.
finna to land, bro. Hold on. And I'm saying, in the darkness he called night. In the darkness he called night. So that's the night time in the
Okay, we
darkness. In the
understand
evening,
that,
hold on. I'm
gang.
just trying
We
to
just
land. I'm
read
just
it.
trying to land. In the evening, in the morning, were the first day. That is literally the verse.
We
That's
get
it.
that, gang. What we saying is that okay? Just to break it down, right? We gonna take a dub right now. That means totally different from what the fuck that meant in 1930. It's different. It's different.
Tank,
Like
tank,
we
tank.
have to understand. We have to understand that it's two different time
But
zones,
tank, tank,
gang.
tank.
Like
No, no,
it's
no,
Yeah,
no.
but you're
different.
not.
No, this
But they're
is
gonna say that you can't use ad
Here,
hominems,
you know
and
what
you
he
can't
did?
use you
hold on.
can't use like
But you know
words
what
like that.
Brock
That's
did
not
in
gonna
Let me
his,
work.
get
you know
this
what,
before Cap
Brock did in
clean it
his
up.
response. Wait, hold on. I just want to respond to Brock. What Brock did in his response is the problem we're having. Brock used his man's response of the light. If I go outside, I see the light. The problem with that is the light that Brock sees is not the light that the Lord is talking about, because that light that Brock sees wasn't created until the fourth day. The night that Brock sees is talk about the fourth day. What the light is, the Most High is talking about is in the creation of the earth. So the time that the Lord is talking about in Genesis, the first chapter, is not the time that we go by. That's
Yeah,
the
see,
And
problem.
see,
how we
Cap,
and
Listen, hold on, hold on,
and how we
hold
and how
on,
we
hold
figure
on. Wait,
this
wait,
out.
wait.
How we
Hold
figure
on.
this out is when you go by the definitions and when you look into the Hebrew and the Latin words of time and days, those words don't match the same words as in later on times of days and all the stuff that y'all talking
I
about.
got
If you
you.
go to Edomai online and you type in that word day for Genesis 1 and 14, it's not gonna match the same one for the day that's in fucking Philippians 2 and 6.
Here's the
It's two
all right.
different types of days, two different
Bump.
words.
I got you,
Just
but
like
here's the
minute, just
problem.
like minute
Bump,
and minute, just like minute and minute are spelled the
I
same.
got you,
But
bump.
you get what I'm saying? This thing,
No, I
but
get that
maybe I'm
part, but
too invested.
listen,
And I'm thinking too much in this shit. This is why I
you're
get mad.
not. No,
This
you
is
know this stuff, so I
Nah, you
respect it.
not. They
So
tweaking.
no, nobody tweet. But so what you're
Hey, this is
saying
the
is,
definition of the
hold on.
word. I'm
Hold
gonna
on,
just
Cap,
give the
real quick.
definitions of the word.
Yeah, good one. Can you say it after this? You mind?
Yeah, I
All I'm
can.
gonna say is, so every time day is referenced in the Bible, it means 1,000 years.
No, you being
That's what
this
that's
is
that. Hold on, now Dale. If you were listening, I just told you
oh
that.
no,
That
yeah, Dale,
differently. That
Dale, you
differently.
follow me, Dale,
Listen. The words when you break it
Y'all
down from
losing.
Dale,
when
you
y'all
so
when y'all break
smart.
it from
You too smart. You too good. I love
niggas
that
can't hear
guy.
me. Niggas can't, hold on,
That's what,
bro.
yeah.
bro.
We
You
I hear
gotta
you,
think
bro. I
about
mean,
We
it.
I hear
can
you,
hear
bump.
you.
I hear you, Bumpy. I hear you. When he come back, I'll let him go. Like when people laugh and say every time you see day, like this is when I see when people don't really want to learn. Every time you see sheep in the Bible, it don't mean a lamb. It could be us. Every time you see serpent, it don't mean an actual snake. When and every time you see any word doesn't mean the word that it is. Like, are we gonna be that stupid? Or are we trying to learn?
You know what the
If you're gonna
irony? You know
Y'all
what the
can hear me
irony
now.
is?
Y'all can
You
hear
know
me
what the
now.
irony of that is? That yeah, bump real
We don't
quick,
gotta
and then
do all
you
that.
go. Hold on, think, think. Yo, here, hey, Brock. Here's the irony. When I tried to explain that things are metaphorical and don't mean exactly, they symbolize something. I got killed for it. And now you telling me day ain't day, night ain't night, 1,000 years is a day. Every word ain't literal. It's ironic. Go ahead, bump.
Exactly.
I'm just going to once again say that the definition of one word and what we got in our English language, it might not be the same word right there, brother. Like water to shahayim. You feel me? If y'all don't understand it, y'all ain't gonna understand it. Y'all gonna run with, oh, it's the firmament, it's the firmament, it's the firmament, because you think that water and the firmament is the only word. But if you use shemayim in a different that different text in the Bible, it's gonna pop up for different segments of water. Different words have
Hey,
different
boss.
meanings. You just have to get
Yeah.
into the
Hey, listen,
etymology
listen.
of this shit.
And the Strong's Concordance. Like, I'm
and
familiar.
and
I
Hey, and I
understand
love
all
using
that.
the
but
Strongs. I love using the Strongs. That's my
I
shit
but
right
get all
there.
but
that.
and then
But when
just
I'm,
for a point
oh,
of
oh,
clarity,
go ahead, Cat.
when the text says he put something in his buttocks, I mean you don't need a breakdown for that, and that's what the text say. He put something in his buttocks. But what
There
I
we
didn't
you
want to
talking,
go.
talk
See?
about that one.
Let's
I
get
ain't
back.
even
but
talking
what we
See?
about
talking
that
about
one.
See?
right
Here
here,
we
What
go.
what
the
Let's
I ain't
get
even
back.
on
fuck?
that one. That's y'all
we talking about
conversation.
right now,
My
Nah,
bad.
this is
brother.
in y'all
Everybody
Bible,
got
and then so listen. This is when y'all get mad when I want to do my thing with the Bible. But now we gonna talk about this shit.
Nah, we
This
can
the
What
talk
shit
about
was
it.
the
that's
something
in
in the
there,
buttocks?
blood.
It's
What the fuck
incest
is?
in the Bible. You cannot
it's not
to
incest. It's
this
not incest in the
to
Bible.
try to say that there's no
There's
to
no
try to
incest.
say that there's no incest in the Bible is fucking asinine.
Well, I don't think nobody
It's
said
literally
incest.
Well,
it's
well, well,
literally
hold on,
contradicting.
Brock. It depends on what you mean because
Right.
Lot's daughters slept with
Right.
him, and that was
Exactly.
And then I
incest.
have to,
Hold
Yeah,
I
on,
have to
hold
yeah.
on, hold
disagree.
It
on.
represents incest.
Hold on, bro. Lot's daughters, the one who had the wife that turned into a pillar of salt, bro. His daughters fucked him, bro. Got him drunk. This was their idea to keep their dad's lineage going. They came up with the plan to say we're gonna go fuck
And
our
then
dad. That's literally there.
we cannot
Hey,
say
Brock.
incest. Hold on. Good lord.
Hey, Brock, I want to know if they did it for a day with their
Hold on,
dad
wait one
or a
second, one
thousand
second.
years though.
I would just want to say that
Thousands
incest
of
does
years.
appear in the Bible. I don't know what he
And
meant by
and,
Sure.
that,
and, and then
but
on
it
top of that, there's
does. We have Cain
Leviticus
and
and
Abel.
Deuteronomy is the law based on everything. So
Okay,
you're gonna follow up on the law, and it's
one
gonna
second.
hold on.
I was talking,
When you're doing Leviticus and you're
bitch.
going through the law, you're gonna see that it's
I
gonna
was
tell you not to sleep
talking.
with no kids.
Okay,
Double
no.
down on Deuteronomy, where the law backs up again. You're gonna just gonna double down and say you can't do it. What are y'all talking
Okay,
about?
so I'm agreeing with you. Can you just hold on for one second? Because I have the Bible verses pulled up here.
Oh
Captain
my
said that
gosh,
there is no
blood.
incest. Right. Oh
I
my
did not say
gosh.
there's no incest
He didn't
there.
say
There.
that. This is what I'm. What are you?
Yes, he
No, I'm not
did.
saying there's no. I didn't say there's no incest. There's no incest in Genesis, what we talking about.
Thank
But there
you.
is incest.
And what do
There's
you
just no
mean? It was
incest
in
with Adam and
Genesis
Eve.
4. Cain and Abel's
Prove it.
There
wives.
no, they're
What
not.
are we
First of
talking
all,
about?
first of all, Abel was dead, so I don't know
And
what
then
What?
context
also
you're
we have
speaking of.
Abraham. Abraham says Sarah is his
Abraham
half sister. She is the daughter
A,
of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. Genesis
Abraham
20:12. What are y'all talking about? What's so
Okay,
funny,
here's what we
bitch?
talk about. When you read earlier in Genesis 20, you'll see Abraham say, when we go into any place, these people don't respect us. So when we go to these places, say you my sister, because if they say you my wife, they gonna kill
Right. So
you.
understand.
And
Hold on, Cap. So understand
when
when
you
that
read, wait, let me just
when you
finish.
bringing that up and you want to say, oh, it's his half sister. No, he was doing it to cloak her to make sure that they didn't
Right,
ravage her and do
right,
her bad. That's the point.
right.
Hey, Cap. This be the problem with this shit. Motherfuckers don't actually read it for what it is. They just want to guess
Exactly.
some words. No, you don't even know the
Right.
synopsis of the situation that happened. They can't even tell us when the woman. Listen, they'll tell us, oh, they tried to kill
Bruh.
the baby. The woman didn't understand that that wasn't her baby. No, but if you go by what the king was doing, he seen that this woman had more shame, and she really was crying about that being her baby.
Right.
Versus the other baby, the other lady who was like, well, I don't give a fuck about
I
that
don't
baby
care
being.
about the baby at
I don't
all.
get
Right.
that. That's how we
And
figured
just
it
for
out that that
clarity,
wasn't
Hey,
her
boss.
baby.
and just for
Hey,
clarity,
I
What are
got
we
a
when
question.
we
talking
I got a
about?
question, boss.
We talk,
Go ahead.
and it took. Hold on. I got you, Cap. Hold on. I know what you're gonna say. It took thousands of years. It was days on days on days,
no,
Dale.
no, I wasn't
Since
gonna
you
say
want to
that.
be
Why
funny,
he got a
blood.
mic
No, no,
out?
I
What
got
I
Like,
something
wanted
else,
to what
dog.
I,
damn.
I got
What are you
something else.
talking about?
let me just
Nah,
finish
because
first.
this one, because we camping right now. We at
Cause we
camp
can
with
hear
it
you
right now.
though. Like, why we
We at
gotta
camp with it
Wait,
right now.
let me just get this
Swords is
one
out.
thing
The
out.
scriptures say don't never be afraid to give no answer for the scriptures or any
hear
belief
shit
that's
that
in
you
you.
even saying right
So let me
now.
just end this part.
Damn.
Tink, with
It's like
Abraham
we
and
can't
Sarah
just
in
have a
Genesis the 11th
conversation. Like,
in
what the
Genesis the
fuck?
11th chapter, you'll read that Sarah is the daughter-in-law of Abraham's father. That's how you know that what Abraham was saying was just because he didn't want to get killed if they knew that that was his wife. And he's not the only one that did it. When Isaac was traveling with Rebekah, Isaac told Rebekah the same thing. Tell him you my sister so that we don't die. So that's the only reason Abraham said what he said, because he's traveling and he didn't want nobody to kill him if they found out that that was his wife. That's it. You can read that in the Bible.
Okay.
Perfect
Hey, Bump.
context.
Hey, Bump.
It
Hey,
doesn't go
Bump.
off to say thou thy art. No, simple. Well,
Hey,
that's
Bump.
what it
Can I ask you a
was.
question? Hey, you know all
What's up, brother?
those people that was all these humans that was created before Adam and Eve, right?
Right?
What did he just do two, or did he do a whole like 1,000
He
people?
made listen,
Like
listen.
how many people was walking around?
He made a plethora of people. He just decided to go through Adam's line to start what he decided to start. Because you got to remember, Adam's line is where we get everything.
But not
Hey,
Everything comes
you
right
everything.
through that
you
line.
don't get to
Hey, but
sacrifice
hold up,
this.
hold up,
My
but
whole
Bump.
point is just know
Hold
Hold
on,
on, bro. Hey,
someone give
bro.
me Romans. Hold on, someone
Watch
give me
this.
Romans 9:4. Give me Romans 9
Read.
and 4, and everything
You
said
sound
right
like you
there,
on the
brother.
corner, Bump. But chill real quick.
Read.
So
Bump
you
is
sound like you on the
Yeah,
wild,
corner.
yeah,
Hold
man.
on.
yeah. You got to get your own verses
Hey,
here,
hey,
brother.
Bump though. Hold on, hold on.
That's right.
So wait, wait,
He
wait.
said, read.
So all these thousands of people he created, they didn't meet the serpent, so they didn't know nothing about sin, right? So they were still good
That
people.
don't even apply because
That's
even
not even a factor. That's
Okay,
not
and
even a
here
factor
and
at
okay,
that
here's how
point.
you know.
Listen,
And
listen,
let me
hold
answer.
on. I
Let
got you, Cap.
Daryl, let me answer.
I got you, Cap. There wasn't listen. There wasn't no rules as far as y'all quote unquote y'all 10 commandments or the statutes, the law, statutes, and commandments being 916 plus besides that y'all don't count. Y'all only count the 10. Y'all don't think about the
no,
other 913 of them plus that's there. Those are the
no.
only
My
ones
question
y'all go
was
off of.
And
Adam.
then here's the bigger point, Dale, to
No, but
answer
hold
your
on.
question. Let me
Oh,
I'm
good. All
answering.
right, go ahead. You got it. You
Thank you.
got it.
When it says the serpent was more subtle than all the beasts of the field, that's the proof that there was other nations because the nations are referred to as beasts. This serpent was just more subtle than the others. So that answers your question. And if you want to preach
No,
that
but
for
you
beast,
saying the serpent was a man, correct?
the serpent is a man. The serpent is not an animal. The
Okay.
beasts that is more subtle than are also, all you got to do is read Ezekiel 33 when it says, we became a prey to all the beasts of the field. As I just said earlier, Israel is called Christ called the lamb. Israel is called the lost sheep. Sheep is a beast. It's a metaphor for requiring a shepherd. So when it says the serpent is more subtle than all the beasts of the field, that's the proof that other nations are there. When Cain leaves Nod, Cain gets kicked out from his parents. So he's not around his parents anymore. Goes to a city or land called Nod and gets a wife there. So the wife that he got is nowhere near where him and Adam and Eve are because he got separated from his parents for killing his brother. And here's the heavy part. Cain says, all they that
How
see
you
me
know it's
shall
nowhere
slay me.
near?
Cain
What
says,
reference to
Cain
different the
says,
distance?
when Cain says, all that see me shall slay me, not only does Cain say that there's other people, God puts a mark on Cain because God knows that there's other people and says, anybody that slays Cain, I will punish them sevenfold. So even God knew that there was other people because the
Hey,
nigga's the one created him.
This is a
hey, check this
I,
fact.
out.
I think he
Hey,
throw a
watch this.
lot of
Hey, Brock,
interpretation
check
on the
this out.
actual scripture. Like
I
you
need
just
you to
That's
said
take
what
that
he
there
this.
was a
said.
distant
Brock, the
land,
text
Hold on,
says,
Brock.
if any
nothing in the
man
scripture
slays
shows the
this,
distance.
Hold
let's
on.
Like
read the text
Oh,
then.
go
Let's
ahead,
read
Brock.
the
we
Bible
gotta
then and see
read
what
the
it
But
text,
hold
bro,
says.
on
because
real
you
quick,
throw
Cap.
interpretation on the
Hey,
literal
No
Brock.
problem. So
scripture.
let's read Genesis.
That's and
Hold
that's
on,
the no.
Dale.
But hold on, hold on,
Okay.
because we
Dale.
had to wait a long
Let's
time for
read
you.
I
Genesis
know.
So
4.
So let me get this one in
hold
for
on. We
Brock
had
and
to wait
you.
a long time for you, and niggas sat on their hands. So let
Yeah.
a
Hey,
nigga go.
Brock, check this
All a
out.
Brock,
nigga
you just
saying
said we
is,
got to read it though.
hold on. We
You
gonna read it when
will.
it's your turn. But right now it's
Yeah.
my
Hey,
turn, so
hey,
I'm gonna do what I want to do with the
That's
flow.
cap.
So
You
so
hey,
capping
so
Brock, give me
right
so
10
now, Brock.
seconds.
You
like just
capping
like
right
when I
now.
asked you a
Hold
question
up,
when it
one
was
mic
your
on Brock,
turn.
please.
Yeah, that nigga wanna you ain't wanna acknowledge my question when it was your turn, nigga. Let
I
me talk.
did acknowledge
Nigga,
your
so like
question.
you kept you kept reading, you
That's
kept
Dale
reading
talking.
into
That ain't me.
That's Dale talking to you, not Cap.
both of them niggas keep cutting me off.
Oh,
Hold
no,
That's
I'm
on.
cap.
with you,
That's what I'm
Brock.
trying to say.
Oh,
Let
no.
me say what I'm saying. So look, it's and Dale, you on my side, I get it. Stay there. Look, Abraham and Sarah, because I'm gonna stay on the point of incest in the Bible. I'll just concede the point of the let it multiply. There was never no reference to people before. I'll concede that to whatever the fuck you just said, all that. Abraham and Sarah. Who is Abraham and who is Sarah? That's what I wanted to ask you. And were they not married and were they not brother and sister? I got 20 of these incest things I can bring up to you. So I'm gonna start one by one. Go ahead and tell us
Okay,
who
so
Abraham and
Abraham
Sarah was.
got you. So Genesis, the 11th chapter is where you start with Abraham and Sarah. And so in Genesis 11, I'm just getting the verse. In Genesis 11, it says, this 11 and 29, it says that Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai. The name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Ishkah. Verse 30, but Sarai was barren and had no child. Verse 11, and Terah is Abraham's father, for those that don't know. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law. So now we know that Sarai is Terah, which is Abraham's father. That's his daughter-in-law. Why? Because Abram and Sarai are married. That's important because when Abraham tells Sarah to tell the people that you're my sister, the story that he gives the people is he tells them this is the daughter of my father, but not my mother. That's how you know it's not true because we're reading Genesis the
Wait,
11th
where do you
chapter.
get daughter-in-law from and just not daughter of the father? Because that's all it
And Gen-
is.
in
Where'd you go,
Genesis,
daughter-in-law?
does it not say Genesis? It does not say
No,
daughter-in-law.
that's I don't even think they reference anything
Genesis,
like say they just
Genesis.
say
Well,
daughter.
can you go to Genesis
Let me go
11 and
look.
31, and we could. Thank you. It says it right there. I didn't make that up. It says, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law. That's what it says, and that's how you know when Abraham says, "This is the daughter of my father, but not my mother." He's telling him a story so that he doesn't die,
Yeah,
because
they're saying his daughter-in-law.
that's
That's
what
his
I just
daughter.
said. That's
Yeah,
not
not
his.
like not the same reference of
Are
daughter-in-law that
you
we have
crazy?
of today.
Did
It's
he
not
just
the
say?
same thing. It's not
That's a
like he
lie.
it's not like he
That's a
got with the
lie.
woman and he's
Then
his
why they don't say
daughter-in-law. That's
son
not
and
true.
why they don't
That
say
is not
why they
true.
don't say
Just like
son
you
in law?
said, no, 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 no.
Why
Just
they
like
don't
you
say
guys
son
said
in law?
earlier, things in the Bible are
Why
referenced from a
why they
whole
don't
nother
say son
time
in
period
law?
with a different context. Daughter-in-law, because what he said verbatim, he said that is the daughter of my father, not of
That's
my
not what I'm talking
mother.
about.
He
I
said that's
get
the
that part.
daughter of my father and
Right.
not my mother. That's
Right.
why he got with her. So that nigga that's
No.
incest.
No, okay, I get the lie you trying to promote, but in Genesis the 11th chapter, if we go by your logic, then it should have said that Abram was Terah was Abram's son-in-law too, but it doesn't. It says daughter-in-law because they're daughter, because the verse before that says that Abram took Sarai for a wife. And so when we read Genesis 12, the very next chapter over, this is Genesis 12 and 12. Therefore, and it came to pass when he came near into Egypt that he said unto Sarai, his wife, behold, now I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, this is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well for my sake. So in Genesis 12 and in Genesis 20, this is what he said. And in Genesis 20, he's doubling down on that because he doesn't believe that he'll live and survive getting out of that. So there's no getting around that that's Terah's daughter-in-law because that's not his literal daughter. And we can read on two occasions that Abraham told Sarah to say you my sister so we don't die. You lose.
No, brother. It says clearly here, and
I
yet
don't see no
indeed,
in law.
it says clearly here in Genesis 20:12, and yet indeed, she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. He would never had to make that distinction if she wasn't actually the
What
daughter of his
version?
father.
What version
He
of the
said,
Bible are you reading,
No, no,
Brock?
I'm
he
reading the
reading the
King
right
Yeah,
James
why
version.
version,
would he
bro.
make
Mom,
that
He says
distinction?
in
Mom, he reading
Genesis
the right. He reading the
20:12.
right
Hold on, you gotta
version.
let me finish. So listen, this is how I know I'm whipping your ass, because you have to cut me off every time I'm talking, but
No,
I
no,
don't
I
have to
was
cut you
telling
off.
Bump you was
No,
reading
no,
the
no, no.
right
That's what I'm
version.
saying. That's how I know I'm beating your ass though. You don't even have to decline. So it's easy for me to
I
tell.
wasn't
But
cutting you
listen,
off though.
hold on, brother. Calm down. Just let the spirit I know this is hitting you hard because you believe this shit. So look, Genesis 20:12. Abraham says, and yet indeed she is my sister. And yet indeed she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. In Mosaic law, later it was forbidden. See Leviticus 8:18-9. Can you quote that one? for me, Cap? I don't want you to do it right now. Just hold off on that one. It wasn't considered a sin at the time. That's why he did it. But it was, in fact, his father's daughter, bro. Now, whether how you try to play word semantics because you're reading a different version that threw in of law, and then you trying to say, oh, this is where it just says, no, he says out of his own mouth. And yet she is my sister, and she is the daughter of my father and not the daughter of my mother. He could have said specifically she's not the daughter of my father and not the daughter of my, but he said she is the daughter of my father and she is not the daughter of my mother, and she is became my wife. I win, nigga. Next room.
So now, no. Let me just respond. You wanted me to be quiet. First of all, I didn't say daughter of
That
law.
was
I
the
said
rebuttal. I'm
daughter-in-law.
gone.
No, that wasn't the rebuttal. You read your point. I responded. You just responded. I responded. Then that'll be it. No problem. So now, it doesn't say daughter of law. It said daughter-in-law. You tried to make that be something else. I didn't use a different version. You're using the correct version. In Genesis 20 and 12, when you say, yet indeed, what you failed to do is read why he said what he said, because all it is a recap. So when you read Genesis 20, and when you go up in the verses before, the Lord goes to Abimelech, who's the man in question, and in a dream it tells him not to sleep with him. And so now Abimelech learns it. So when you read Genesis 20 and 10, Abimelech asks an interesting question. It says, Abimelech said unto Abraham, what sawest thou that thou hast done this thing? Question mark. Now, when Abraham responds, he's responding to why he said what he said when they first got there and did what he did when they first got there. And for the record, for everybody listening, this is the second account of Abraham doing this. The first account was Genesis 12. Genesis 20 and 10, 11 rather. It says that Abraham said, because I thought surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they would slay me for my wife's sake. And yet indeed she is my sister. Now he's recapping what he said. What nobody can dispute is that this is Abraham's father's daughter-in-law, because that's what the Bible says. The only way you could win is if Genesis the 11th chapter, when it says that Terah is the son, excuse me, that Abraham is the son of Abraham, is that it would have to also say that Sarah is the son, excuse me, the daughter of Terah. But it clearly says daughter-in-law because Abraham and Sarah are married.